I'm Charlotte Gallini, representing Fondation des Sciences du Patrimoine, and I'm here with Margherita Sani from NEMO. Hello, Margherita.
Hello.
So what is NEMO and who does it represent?
NEMO is the network of European museum organizations, and it represents the museum sector. It is one of the over 20, I think it's 27 or 28 networks at European level that the EU funds to have an interlocutor from different sectors. So indeed, it represents museums and the museum sector at large, with over 170 members from 40 countries. Members are museum associations, museum networks, umbrella organizations, individual museums also, universities and other institutions that collaborate with museums. As I said, the museum sector at large. NEMO recognizes itself in 4 keywords, which is advocating, which is indeed representing the sector, especially at European level with regard to the EU Commission, cooperating, and indeed this is the most important value that also members acknowledge whenever they're questioned about the value of being in the network. What they see as a value is that of cooperating among themselves, with other institutions and so on. So networking is the key. Sharing, because there is a lot of information and knowledge shared, and then training, because there is training happening through webinars, through study visits and so on. NEMO has 5 working groups, so people that belong to the network through their institutions, because membership is only institutional, can decide to participate in one or more of these working groups. And there's one on resilience and care, one on sustainability and climate action, museum education. There's a think tank, a very recent think tank of the future of museums, and then also the digital transformation. So this is also very important for the Eccch project.
Thank you. And what is the role of NEMO in the Eccch project?
Well, it reflects exactly also its engagement in the different work packages. So dissemination is one important activity to bring the cloud and the advantages of the Eccch project and of the cloud to the sector, so informing, contributing to the building of the community, so trying to engage also museums to be heard and to be interviewed and to bring their needs and expectations to the fore, and also the capacity building, so collaborating in producing the capacity building activities and content, because as I said, training is a very important activity that NEMO does. Another important action in which NEMO is very active, also at this very moment, is one of the cascading grants. The cascading grants open up to different external organizations to be engaged with Eccch and with the cloud. And the second cascading grant calls that we are at the moment finalizing to evaluate is about engagement and collaboration. And so it is open to also umbrella organizations and networks, not only institutions, to really bring in a number of new players that otherwise would not be involved in the project. Also engaging them through their representatives, so through their networks or associations or umbrella organizations and so on. So this is something that NEMO is very much working on to widen the reach of Eccch and to really bring in people that will try, to adapt and to use the cloud, or to prepare especially their workforce for the cloud.
How do you think the cloud would benefit the museum sector?
Yeah. Well, this is a difficult question, although it is the question, because the cloud has to be important for, the different communities of the cultural heritage sector. So I think that the cloud will offer a great opportunity for museums to collaborate, share content, share information, knowledge, expertise, use tools, and so on. And we always say that it should address small and medium-sized organizations, also working across disciplines, across countries, and so on. So accessibility, interoperability, and so on. I think that the challenge for the developers of the cloud, so the technological partners, is that of listening to the needs, taking time to interview, to collect the input from the sector itself, so also from the museum sector, to shape an architecture that will be relevant for them and then will be used in the end. So the value is a lot, is a big value, important value, provided that this, active listening, as we call it, is done properly, and we take time to do it.
And talking about active listening, what is NEMO doing to make sure the voice of museums are heard in the Eccch project and in the development of the cloud?
Yeah, because NEMO says, and it prides itself of being the voice of museums in Europe. So what we are doing, as I said, we are disseminating, so sharing information. We're also providing moments where museum professionals are directly engaged in activities where they can make their voice heard. And with this, I mean some museum professionals and representatives of NEMO attending an upcoming event at INP in Paris for conservators, restorers, and art historians and curators, where they will be able to describe their workflows and see where the cloud, in an exchange, see where the cloud can come in to support and facilitate their work. So that opportunity is offered to museum professionals, and also at network level, especially with the working group on digital transformation, the engagement in an online event open to networks. Again, answering questions, presenting challenges, and again, trying to imagine how the cloud can be really useful for museum professionals. In the European Museum Conference, so the annual event, open event that NEMO organizes every year, the last one, which took place in Denmark, in Horsens last year, we set up a booth, an information booth that was especially devoted to the cascading grant and the call that was open at the time. And this year, the conference is going to take place between the 11th and the 13th of October in Vilnius. And because the topic for NEMO this year is AI, cybersecurity, and digital transformation, we are also developing either an event or something or another booth. We don't know yet, but there will be again a moment to inform and to gather information from NEMO members to be then transferred to those who are working on the cloud.
Thank you very much, Margherita,
Thank you
for this insight into NEMO's work and into its place in the cloud.
Thank you. Thank you.